So you brought up a really interesting thing that we talked about earlier, which was, not earlier now, because you haven't heard anything. This is the beginning. Don't worry. You're not going...
This is the beginning.
This is the beginning.
No conversation.
Yeah, there was... You didn't hear anything. That's why it wasn't said.
I'm glad you exist. If I can.
So can you. That might be treasure. I think we were going to discuss inclusion, inclusive spaces, how to bring yourself to work, I think.
There you go.
There we go. Tell you what, that's it, nailed it. How to bring yourself to work, what to do. So we've made 5 minutes of usable content out of a 20-minute conversation. Nailed it. Inclusivity in the workplace, better still, bringing your whole self to work.
I like that.
What do I mean by this? When you're able to confidently go into work, dress as you would like to dress, how you feel inside, where your name is pronounced properly, the way that you say your name, not Anglophiled, not Europeanized. I don't know if these are real words.
They are now.
Yeah, established. But you're just addressed and you're made to feel, there's disabled access. There's all the things you would want to see in a workplace that allow all of you to participate and to be there. So I'm very blessed, and I'm not going to talk about my workspace very much, and only in a positive view, so I can continue my employment. I am currently wearing what I wore to work. So I have a face of makeup on. I'm wearing quite a funky little jumper, I think.
I would agree with
It's
that.
got sleeves for days. I wouldn't know even how to visually describe these. The sleeve goes from the arm at the elbow, goes to the forearm, and then just drops vertically by the length of the sleeve itself. I don't know. I feel like a wizard. Imagine Gandalf, but all the... It's only because I can visually see a cardboard cutout of Gandalf, as is the wonder of the studio here. Very select.
We're just the living room.
We're just... Next to your washing... It's Gandalf. Excellent. You can see the budget is through the roof on this one.
Clearly. The fact that we use one microphone rather than two should have been the first indication.
It's economical. So what's that I'm hearing? It's a green podcast.
Oh, I see. Carbon neutral?
How sustainable. Indeed. I got a bus, but I walked to it. Green.
Very.
But I tangent. Indeed, bringing your whole self to work means that you can feel safe in your workplace. If we're talking about things that underpin this theory, I'm talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Shout out to Maslow. Psychology A-level, thank you. But hierarchy of needs, if you don't know what it is, it's about humans and how stress affects humans. And you go up these steps. So the first one, safety, actually feeling safe around yourself. I might even quote these out of order, in which case people can write in, or they probably can't write
Leave
in.
nasty comments that it's actually psychological.
Oh my God, you dweeb, you dare to mention Maslow's name. Well, actually Maslow, I'm not sure if he's dead or not. Maslow comes on just like, excuse me, I'm out of order then.
Outrageous.
Steps. You make me sick.
As a note, having used the power of Google while editing this podcast, Maslow has died in 1970 at the age of 62.
He's both dead and you've misquoted him.
He's Schrödinger's Maslow.
Indeed. The hierarchy of needs stipulates that you need certain things to get towards the top of the pyramid, and sometimes the graph of this has colours, and that's not relevant. But what is the top level, which is self-actualization.
Correct.
When you have a workforce, God, this is getting sexy. I know you podcast about workforces.
Here we go. So adult.
Smiles and rubs hands in HR. When you have a workforce that is happy and that feels represented and that everyone feels empowered, because I tell you, like, when I've brought sexuality and things into the workplace. No, not like that. I've put flags on the wall because my workplace let me. And I put explanations of what the flags meant, where they were made, when they were made. and took it upon myself to educate the office around me, just saying, so this is Pride Month. Don't get me started on Pride Month.
It will be a future episode, I'm sure.
Do not get me, because there isn't Pride Month. I go to Prides in winter. I go to Prides in March. Don't give me nonsense about Pride Month.
I'm taking notes. No nonsense about Pride Month. Gotcha.
Yeah, get scribbling. During Pride Month, it's the focused effort, although there are lots of different LGBT plus dates and visibility dates, awareness dates throughout the year. So what I was talking about is getting inclusion into the office. It takes confidence and assuredness from speaking that place of authority where you know what you are talking about because you have lived that long enough to have a voice on it. But also it's exciting if you haven't lived enough. So if you've newly come out as non-binary, I remember being quite excited to explain non-binary to others whilst I was going through the process of coming out as non-binary. Neither man nor woman, something in between, but neither. Cheesecake, not cheese, not cake, but somewhere in the middle, which tastes rather nice. Yeah, non-binary is like cheesecake. If there are any cheesecake people out there in the land of ears, then I accept sponsorship. Yeah, I do.
Cheesecake sponsorship.
And being a larger person, yeah, I take sponsorship for your cheesecake. Just drop one off at my house. Just mention your cheesecake. So again, going to work and bringing yourself there. When you see things that are a part of you or that are represented throughout the office, it can create that ease. And there are so many barriers for folk going into work, be they disability, be they ethnicity, gender, expression, sexual orientation, age, maternity, paternity, all these different things that can influence our journey. So it's good to have a mixture of clear policy on how you treat colleagues, and got to have a robust system of making sure that those who bring in their own agendas of saying, well, actually, I don't believe in that, or I don't think you should do this, or I don't think there is space enough for a prayer room and other things, I think it's terrible because you're denying that person. And I say this, and what you're not seeing is the actual idea behind this. So I'm giving you all the flavours of why inclusive spaces are important. The idea behind this is this. Work can be the final place where you can feel safe because there are policies and procedures that surround you that say that everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. And if you are at work and you're being bullied, harassed, discriminated against, and you're not getting the support you need at home, you're not getting the support you need from your friends, you're not getting support in any way, shape or form, and that one place that you hoped would be a place where you could just breathe without fear of judgment. If you take that away from a person, what does that person have? And it's about allyship, of trying to make sure that if your workspace doesn't have those things in place, that you're going and asking management, hey, what about this? Or, hey, let's do something for. And it's worth its weight in gold to actually just respect people, give them the dignity and give them the acknowledgement that they matter. And also, let's talk about the positives of inclusion. Any kind of cultural exploration through different celebrations, different times of the year that are important to different people, they can be fantastic. I tell you what I love, Eid. One of my favourite things I experienced in the office were things that brought in cultural celebrations, such as Eid.
What's Eid?
Eid is a Muslim festival, a celebration that happens either before a fast or after, or is the observance of a period of fasting. And at the end of the celebration, what I remember from my office down south is that all of our colleagues brought in food after the celebration so that we could all share the food and talk about it in deeper meaning. It's something that's always stuck with me because I really enjoyed learning. That's one of the things that I love, is I enjoy learning about other cultures, going to different places, seeing how other people do it. I enjoyed thinking that I'm going through this process, this human experience, but there is so much I will never know. I'll not know certain experiences because I've not gone through them. But what a blessing it is that I can... I mean, when I came to your flat today, Alex, you gave me an Austrian candy.
True.
And I, in return, said, would you like some calamari? So we're going to be enjoying some calamari. Because why wouldn't you? You know, you give me chocolate, I give you squid. Because that's the... If you will talk to strange people. And
Did you face difficulties initially at the place of work when you first started with the flags?
no, I was singular, and I've heard of the difficulty when you've got somebody who is very anti, and they're being surreptitious about it. They're being very discreet, or they're being very low key. They might come out with things with, no, it's fire hazard. Can't do that. They won't try to compromise. They won't try and do anything to give you leeway. They will just block you with any nonsense they can. And I'm not saying that health and safety protocols aren't there to protect us all.
Of course.
Like, obviously, you don't hang a flag over an electric fire. I mean, let's be very honest. And
Seems kind of no-brainer, you would think.
this, and of course, and if your pride flag is printed on a towel that's sopping wet and you hang it over extension cables or a power source, then you're just asking for trouble. But if you're just taking...
What an odd example, but yes.
I know. No, you'd be surprised of how many offices in the UK damp towel pride flags above electric. But no, it's the little things that people will try and get under your skin about, or try to block you in different ways. Yeah. But for me, I did it in such a way. Well, first off, when I came to my workspace, there wasn't an LGBT space, or if there had been, but it wasn't maintained, and so it all fell apart.
Right.
And so I set one up, because if I see that there isn't something there that should be there, I'm one of those kids that goes, all right then, cool. What do I need? What permissions do I need for this? So I just start asking people the honest questions of, I want this to happen. What do I need to make it happen? And luckily I had people who were like, good for you. I love the energy. Let's do this. You won't get that. And I'm not trying to paint it that everyone will. I am blessed and I am lucky, and I acknowledge my privilege that I got such an easy ride when I did that. Because what I could have done as well is put myself in a position where those who were in management could have turned around to me and said, I don't like putting your energies into that. And also you're wasting your own time and what you're paid to do. Yeah. They could have done that, and it could have soured my experience, and I wouldn't be here right now.
Would you have looked for a place you wanted to be, rather, but it has that representative take?
Yes. Yeah. It's essential. Well, let's be very honest. I've turned up to your gaff in makeup.
Yeah.
It's not... When you live life proudly and out, there is no hiding it. It's very difficult to hide. Though, having said that, if I feel incredibly unsafe in a place, and it has happened, I haven't used this voice for a long time. So you've been listening to my voice. Thank you. So it's been nice and melodic. It's been gentle tones. It's been... But if I'm not feeling safe, then actually the melodic goes from my voice. And... I think there's a bit of a different mouth shape as well. So what I would do is speak like this. This is my straight acting voice.
Right, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so you see this also, it comes with the lack of really nice adjectives or a complex register of different words.
Much more to the point.
Yeah, I'm new to the entire experience of what I want to communicate with people when I want to be perceived as straight. Not that I do that anymore.
Yeah, I got you.
Because that's garbage.
My
I don't want to. I'm not saying that being straight's garbage. I mean, it led to so many wonderful things. I am one of them. But yeah, it's just about being able to do what you can in work. And it all ties back to having a nicer space in work and having that place where we can bring ourselves fully to work, which I think is great.
It sounds like such a simple thing, right? But it's actually quite a lot.
And I've had a simple ride with it.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because because I've actually seen loads of people who haven't had an easy ride who feel that they can't express themselves at all. And the amount of despair it puts onto their journeys. And it's a waste for having that humanity of saying, you know what, I don't care who you love because it doesn't affect your job. If you're bringing them into work and making love on a photocopier, have a talk with yourself, because that's neither the time nor the place. But, oh, God, it's terrible.
But it resonates quite a lot with me as well, because so the industry I work in, luckily, is very acceptance of LGBTQ. But
That's
it's the fact that, I'm wearing, nail polish or whatever, and it's like I don't need to take it off by the end of the weekend. And it's just me. Is that in of itself is like I wouldn't want to change industry just because of that?
Yeah. I wonder if that's a bigger conversation then around how LGBT plus people, maybe that's a barrier to changing industries or jobs or workplaces.
Could be.
Because I would be very interested of knowing the representation in a job before I even apply for that job.
Yeah.
Because I had an interview with an organisation before I got my current job and had a completely different experience, which was very discriminatory.
And it's like, even looking at some of our friend groups, right? Mm-hmm. They are expected to dress a certain way just to be professional, to be representative,
Yes.
And all of that for me is not relevant because it doesn't matter. And I quite value that I don't need to think about those things. It just doesn't matter. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I like it if people see that there's a trace of glitter on me, they go, oh, where have you been? What have you done? And they do it in such a kind and polite way.
Because, in a curious way. They want to know about you, right?
Because they are interested.
Yeah.
They want to know more because they don't know what happens in my life. They might not even have somebody who's of my diversity in their life. And that's nice. Because in having that insight into somebody's life and by having the kind of explaining certain things or by giving them the time of day, it then builds up in their minds this picture of, person wearing glitter or non-binary person is positive. Maybe non-binary people are positive. It also does that call to allyship that I was kind to you, which means you might want to learn about the issues that oppress me. These things. And that's true of all diversity sectors, of all characteristics.
Very much so.
Which is the least that we can do, that I know that I'm non-binary and I'm disabled. I would like allies fighting for my rights, as I will fight for ethnic diversity and I will fight for women's rights and to quantify autonomy within doctors' surgeries. Anyway, that is a massive tangent and is not feeding into this at all. And
that would explode the episode.
I think a culmination thought might be good to tie all the strands. Yeah.
In a way, I learned something.
What?
The way that you approach and how you see the world and how you spoke about allyship, as in that level of curiosity. That's what it's all about. When I think about the not so nice side of humanity and society, especially today, is just a little bit of curiosity would just probably remove that. A small conversation and just a little bit of leave your hate at the door for a minute and actually listen to somebody who understands.
It's an easy recipe. It's 2 parts curiosity, 3 parts kindness, and 4 parts listening.
Yeah.
And then 1 part clarification. Mix it together, put it in the oven for 180 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. For 15 minutes, then cover with tin foil. And then for the last 5 minutes, uncover. And then you get the banana loaf of understanding.
I was expecting cheesecake, given the earlier analogy.
No. We don't double tap. You've heard about cheesecakes. Funnily enough, being on your table, not looking at our phones or anything, no cheesecake companies have come forward. So
outrageous.
Sod them. Get in the bin. So in summary, there is joy and there is sunshine. And there are so many beautiful, wonderful things if we open our eyes to the way that other people's exist in the world that we live in. We share this wonderful world with 7 billion other people who are all on different routes, different paths, going through different experiences, and how colourful it makes our journey by exploring and understanding these new worlds, if you will. And going on what you were saying about the people who don't want to to give a damn about different diversities. What a dull little life. I couldn't live. It seems grey. Hatred is bad for the body. We've seen this in medical tests. We've seen this in different things. I'm not going to cite any of those tests. You've got Google, get involved. And I find that love, acceptance, happiness, exploring, curiosity and joy are things that make me happy. But maybe I'm just strange and odd like that. But better strange than dull.
I think that's a pretty good end.
You've been listening to the I'm Glad You Exist. If I can, so can you podcast. If you want more from us, you can find us on all the usual social medias. Like, subscribe, follow us, which is the best thing you can do to help us continue making this podcast. And please, never ever forget, you are loved.